New Generator cards that are building upon the lore we got with Runic, and they're playable! Anyway, we got 2 new Generator cards. We have Vera, Sadir of the Generator bosses, who is a better Novelgus and Hella for the deck, letting you unbreak yourself, making 40 card Generator actually a viable deck now, as well as a new Xyz monster with Leviathan, Generator Boss of Shadows, a rank 9 which lets you tag out into Jormungandr while attaching cards. These 2 cards allow for some neat new plays the deck can do. By opening Vara and Mardell, you can end on Leviathan and Har, which is a non-targeting Steel 2, and an Omni negate with Har. That's not even considering the back row you would have like Imperm or Boss Fight to tag into an Utgarda, or a combo variant like Punk Generator, which would end on all of that plus Hulk, which would let you go into Formula and Locust, letting you draw 1 and make your opponent pitch 1, and using your tokens you can synchro into Barone, as well as ending on Cicada King. Another combo you can do rather than going into Leviathan is using Vera to go into Mario Logic Aggregator turn 1, a card we won't have until Darkwing Blast in the TCG, but by the time these cards are out we will have it. You use Aggregator's effect to send Apkallone from the extra deck to the grave, Apkallone effect add Schism and set it. This lets you go into Winda by choosing Apkallone and Aggregator on your opponent's turn. This paired with Boss Stage is a decent turn 1. Basically, any turn 1 rank 9 plays are more possible for Generator now instead of turn 3 plays for Xyz. Now, while the combos the deck has now is nice, the real interesting part of these cards is what it means for the lore. As we saw in Runic Allure, Lopter sends player characters of the Runics on a quest. In the art, they can be seen attacking creatures which we theorize were the Generator bosses. The Art of Destruction has a player attacking some kind of white and gold wall. This is a bit of a stretch, but it could be argued that this is a player fighting Utgarda. Well, it looks like that came true. Leviathan is Lopter after having absorbed all the other Generator's power. We know it's Lopter because he has Lopter's blonde hair with a pink highlight as well as his red ribbons. He is the Generator Boss of Shadows, while Lopter is the Shadow of the Generator bosses. His effect to reduce monsters by 1k is a mirror of Lopter's ability to buff monsters by 1k. His attribute and typing are the same as Lopter's, and his stat line are the same as Lopter's after the boost. Now, as for him absorbing the power, it's hard to say for sure, but I believe the parts stolen from them have been the horns from Hela, the giant bell dress thing he's wearing is Har's outfit, as well as the lightning in the background being the same as the one in Har's art. The sword on fire could be a mix of Frodi's sword and Naglfar's fire, and the only thing I think the tentacles could be is something from Nidhogg. I'm not sure about that one. Now, as for why Lopter is having the bosses killed, well, we need to move on to Vera. Vera's name can be translated to mean beware, and Sadir is a form of Nordic magic associated with seeing the future. So her name, Vera, Sadir the Generator bosses, can be translated to literally mean beware the future of the Generator bosses, implying that a really bad fate is about to come to these guys. Now, Vera herself appears to be based on Angrboda, the Norse god who is both the mother of Hel and Jormungandr and the wife of Loki. We have connections to Jormungandr clearly on the card with her writing Jormungandr in the art itself, and the connection to Hel, or Hela in this case of the Generators, can be seen as she's holding the same kind of staff with a skull chalice as Hela is in her art, the only difference being the ribbons, while Vera's is a blue color, Hel's is a black color. Finally, the connections to Loki, who is Lopter in the Generator lore. Vera has a bead-like accessory coming down from her neck. It's a green bead with a blue bit of fluff at the end. That's the exact same kind of accessory Lopter has, along with Vera being the mother of Jormungandr while Loki is the father of it, which makes Lopter the father of it. And Lopter's new form in Leviathan makes specifically Jormungandr, linking him to his child. Aww. Now onto why Lopter did this. In Norse mythology, Loki is the one to start Ragnarok, and we can see him having succeeded or about to succeed in doing this in the Art of Leviathan because he's holding a red and corrupted boss stage, showing he has all but destroyed the boss stage. Now, in the story of Ragnarok, it ends with all of these characters dying, but interestingly, we're missing a few key players. Thor, first of all, will be the one who kills Jormungandr, but we have no Thor in Generators yet. Fenrir, the third child of Vera, is supposed to kill Odin, which would be Har for us, but we have no Fenrir. And Vidar is supposed to kill Fenrir, but we don't have Vidar. And the one who should kill Lopter/Loki is Heimildar. That's 4 cards which should be here at this event, but aren't. There's a few more, like the specific person who killed Frodi, but these are the 4 most important ones. Hey, as I'm editing this, I thought of another possible theory. I'm unsure if this or my previous one is more accurate, so I figured I should share both. In Runic Smithing Storm, we can see what's clearly Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer, and the rune in the middle of it can be translated to mean Thorn, 1 letter off from Thor. This character in Smithing Storm has a tie to Thor, so it could be possible that the character is Thor himself, but that wouldn't explain any of the other cards unless each of the cards represents a different person that Lopter has tricked. Perhaps he manipulated all of the missing players into doing something, and all the runic cards are just their perspectives. An example of this could be Flashing Fire vampire being Surtur, the one who would kill Freya, or Frodi in our case. As in Norse mythology, Surtur's fight with Frodi is said to envelop the world in flames, tying back to the boss stage becoming red. And the person being fought on the art of flashing fire could be another artist's interpretation of Frodi, as we know the specifics of art don't always transfer over, as direYGO's red backspecks in the art of Vera are very different from how they are on its own card art. Now, a counter to this argument could be that the gloves on all the arts of the runics are the same, so it's not safe to assume that they're all different people. However, it could be said that all the missing players, aside from Fenrir, who is a wolf, not a human, could be in a sense meshed together into this player character, being all the missing characters in one. This, along with my other theory, are both just as valid. I'm just unsure which is more likely. This leads me to believe this isn't the end of the Generaider story, but the climax. This is right before the big battle where everything comes in. I believe we will get a new wave of Generaider cards. It won't just be these two, we'll get at least 4 more cards, possibly even more. I was right, you see. Generaider lore, Generaider cards, it's all coming together. A playable deck is finally happening. I knew Konami was pumping us with Runics and Hella Icon and Master Duel, and now all the lore will only speed up. The reason that they took so long in the first place to give us more support was to remain lore accurate. It is said that 3 years of a long winter called Fimbulwinter will predict Ragnarok. The 3 winters since we've had since Generaider's release were Rika having snow-themed plants in 2020, Ursarctic being polar bears in the cold depths of space in 2021, and the Runics having a literal freezing curse in 2022. All of them being deck building sets, just like Mystic Fighters were, and all of them being released in March for the OCG, considered to be the very end of winter, as if they are extending the winter for these past 3 years. Ragnarok is happening now for them. They were just waiting. That's why the game had an increase of power creep rapidly since 2019. A desolate wasteland of Yu-Gi-Oh! OTKs everywhere, no games past turn 5, heralding the end of times, the end of the world, heralding Ragnarok. Every set will have a Generaider. It will be the best deck. Activate boss stage. No one will be safe to draw cards when I'm around. Activate boss stage. Oh my god, it's finally happening. Please subscribe.